innovations, and I have to say this one probably is one of the most exciting that we've had in a while. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get kicked off here. So for those of you that are not aware, Santa Fe is one of the brands of a company called Thermistor. We are headquartered in Madison, Wisconsin, and Thermistor manufactures Santa Fe, which is our residential brands of whole house ventilating and freestanding dehumidifiers. For those that have been in the industry for a while, maybe more on the HVAC side, our Ultra Air brand was our whole house ventilating, and Santa Fe was our freestanding crawl space and basement. A couple years ago, we combined those both underneath the Santa Fe brand to help eliminate any confusion among homeowners of, what do I need, an Ultra Air or a Santa Fe? Are they two different companies? So we just combined those both underneath one. Thermistor really specializes in dehumidification. So we also offer Quest, which is our commercial dehumidification products, and then Phoenix, which is our restoration. Obviously right now with the hurricane that just went through, we are very much focused on getting our Phoenix equipment out the door and down those to help those that need it. So Santa Fe is known for leading the industry in innovation. For those of you that may not be aware, we actually invented the first whole house ventilating dehumidifiers back in the mid-90s. This is not a picture of one of the originals, but it's the oldest one that I could find on hand. A gentleman named Ken Gehring, who's known as Teddy Bear on a forum called HVAC Talk, actually was the one who innovated the first whole house ventilating dehumidifiers. We also were the first to market with the horizontal dehumidifiers for crawl spaces. We're the only ones that offer a ducted vertical unit on the market. And we also offer a XT line of dehumidifiers, which integrates a heat exchanger inside of the dehumidifier, which allows us to remove more water using less energy by getting to dew point faster. And then also we were the first to market with a truly in-wall dehumidifier. So first to come out with that 5 3/4 inches thick dehumidifier. So that one we're seeing a lot in multifamily, but it's also going into a lot of homes with ductless mini splits as well as basements. So we're really excited to bring you the Santa Fe Oasis105, which is the first residential dehumidifier with a patented 3-coil efficiency capacity coil optimization technology. And we're calling that ECO technology for short, as it maximizes the energy efficiency and capacity in a very compact box. What's also very exciting about this unit is it has corrosion resistant double coated coils. So as you can see, it's a very slick looking dehumidifier. And we're going to go into a quick overview of this unit, and then we'll dive a little bit deeper into some of these features as well. So quickly, it's a standalone unit and it can be ducted. So it's a dual purpose unit, which is new for us. Typically our dehumidifiers are either the Ultra series, which are more the HVAC ducted, or just Santa Fe, which is the standalone. We have our onboard digital controls. This is the first unit that we have with that. A terminal block for remote control. So again, this can be ducted to an external controller, more for the HVAC side, but also for those that want more control of the unit, maybe in a crawl space application. Dew point cutout control, which will help minimize how often the dehumidifier goes into defrost, which will extend the life of the dehumidifier. Variable speed fan. This is super exciting, and we're going to dive into this and what this allows for this unit to do a little bit more. We have an integrated secondary drain pan with a dedicated float switch port, so that helps eliminate that need for that extra drain pan on site. Positive pressure drain. This is really big for us, and I'm sure for a lot of you out there that have had an experience with our other standalone units. No more P-trap. This one is just gravity, so you no longer have to have that. Molded base with integrated handles. If you're in the crawl space business, this is huge. And of course, MERV 13 filter, which is standard on all of our units. So the performance of this unit, really, it is the most energy efficient dehumidifier currently on the market. At that 80/60, it's 105 pints, 7.6 pints per kilowatt hour. If we go into the whole house conditions, which is the 73 degrees and 60% relative humidity, we're at 82 pints, still very impressive, 6.5 pints per kilowatt hour. And then the basement crawl space conditions of that 65 degrees and 60% relative humidity, 69 pints and 6.1 kilowatts per hour. So a lot of water removal using not a lot of energy. So we're only 5 amps. It does have this adjustable blower or variable speed fan. So 280 CFM is the amount of airflow up to 1 inch of water column, so 1 inch of static. So really impressive that we can keep that consistent airflow through the dehumidifier. MERV 13 filtration, super quiet unit, 45 decibels. Our in-wall dehumidifier is really quiet, and that one is 49 decibels. So this one even is coming in lower than that. Operating temps, so in spaces for the air going into the unit is 49 to 115. That's when we can still, if dew points allowing, and there's water there, we can remove some water at those conditions. Not very common, but I know that's a question we get often. And the operating environment is up to 150 degrees. So this can be installed in attics in the south. It will still operate with the external operating environment of 150 degrees. And then this is our sizing on this. So, you know, we're very conservative with our sizing of our dehumidifiers because there's so many different variables that determine how much dehumidification is needed for that space. So we would rather have you have more capacity than you need than not enough. It's hard to oversize, but very easy to undersize a dehumidifier. So we always, you know, if you're ever on that borderline of our recommendation, size up. We would always rather your homeowner be happy and the dehumidifier performing, because again, there are so many unknowns when it comes to applying dehumidifiers. So what is this eco technology? And this patented 3-coil optimization technology. And I'm going to minimize this here so I can kind of walk you through this, because it is very exciting and very interesting, but there's 2 different ways to have to look at this. We have the way that the air is flowing through these different coils, and then we have what's going on with the refrigeration. So the air coming in is hitting coil number 1. Now, for those of you who are familiar with our heat exchanger technology that we have on our XT units, which are big units, but they're very energy efficient, remove a lot of water, and very effective. This is pretty much what you're getting, but in a more compact footprint. So this first coil here is our pre-cooling coil, and that is going to pre-cool that incoming air about 10 to 15 degrees. Now, from a refrigeration standpoint, this is medium temp refrigerant in this first coil. Now, this third coil here is recovering, is our recovery coil, and it's going to condense refrigerant vapor using cold air from the evaporative coil from number 1, and it's going to allow us to drop that temp in coil number 2 15 degrees below dew point to extract water. So it's very energy efficient by utilizing the refrigerant this way to allow us, again, to remove more water using less energy. And that refrigerant, whoops, sorry about that. Kind of got ahead, whoops. What the heck? Went backwards there. The refrigerant then drops to the evaporator temperature to squeeze moisture out of that air. So it really is, for that second coil there, really maximizing the energy to get as much water out of this as possible. So the evaporator isn't burdened with that sensible cooling of that air. So really exciting, patented, and the benefits of this technology, most energy efficient dehumidifier on the market by utilizing this 3-coil technology. The Santa Fe Oasis105 is 36% more efficient than this year's Energy Star most energy efficient dehumidifier, which has less capacity. And by having this 3-coil compact system, it takes up 33 to 50% less volume compared to other dehumidifiers on the market with a similar efficiency. And especially if you look at, we used to have an XT105 that utilized that heat exchanger, and it was a big unit, and it was really hard to get into crawl spaces. So this is really exciting that we can still deliver even the same amount of capacity with less energy in a really compact box. And to show you that here's the dimensions. So 15 or 14.5 high, 16 wide, 24 long. When you add those ducts, of course, it's going to make it a little bit wider, 27. But in comparison to one of our XT, like our Impact 155, that unit is 20 1/4 wide, 21 3/4 high, and 38 inches in diameter. So again, great units when you need that extra capacity, that 155 pints, or on the ultra line 155 or 205. Those are the units to use when you need that much capacity. But for 105 pints, really compact unit. So we're going to dive a little bit deeper into these onboard digital control, because there's a lot of function with this controller. So we've got the power button up on top. Here's the display, which is going to show us what the RH is, and then also we have air codes, so it'll be really much easier to troubleshoot the unit. And then also that'll show us when we get into our different fan settings, that'll be able to display what our fan settings are. There are the arrows up and down just to change the RH setting. There is an indicator light of when the unit does go into defrost mode, so we know when it's in defrost, and probably when there's dew points are pretty low. The filter reset button is a 6-month filter button, so it goes by time in order to indicate when that filter will need changed. Dark mode, so if this is in a basement or in an area where people are going to be a little bit more sensitive to the light of the controller, that can be shut off. And then the fan is what's going to activate the different fan settings, and then also put it into a quieter mode as well And then the terminal control. When you want to use an external controller, this is the button that you're going to have to press in order to deactivate the onboard and activate an external. And then here's the terminal block here. And we're going to go a little bit more into what this terminal block looks like. So when you push that terminal controller, TC is going to show up on the display. So that way you know that you have activated the terminal control, which needs to be wired now to an external controller. And it must be activated if you're going to use that external controller. And I'm going to show you here. So that external controller, or that terminal block, is what you're going to remove from the unit in order to wire the external controller. And so we've got several different relay inputs here. 24 VAC, so we're about 10 max for this unit. So you might have to probably utilize so if there's not enough power to control additional components beyond this external control. So basically with this unit or this controller here is to wire a external controller, and that's about the max power it has. If you want to use other components like a ventilation damper, you're going to have to wire that to the HVAC source in order to do that, which is different than our other Ultra units. But you need to be aware, and that is in the manuals on how to do that for this unit. Fan control input, we've got 24-volt common, the power transfer, float switch there. So when we talk about that, we have that secondary drain pan that you can wire, screw in a float switch. You can do that here. And then there's alarms that can be used with this unit as well. So let's say you have a crawl space and you want to use an external controller to indicate if there's water in the space, then you can wire it to here as well. So a lot of things, if you're on the HVAC side, very common of what you're used to in this terminal block. All right, so the fan setting, the unit is factory set to an auto fan speed, and that is the most energy efficient speed on this dehumidifier. So when you plug it in, auto speed is what it is automatically going to go to, and you're going to use this fan button on the unit to control the different fan speeds. Now you press the fan button to toggle fan speed from auto to low. So let's say it's a basement application, and we have, maybe a home theater system, something like that. Someone's a little bit sensitive to the noise of the fan, then you can put it into low mode for the ultra quiet operation. Now, if you press the fan button to toggle to high, this is a preset fan speed when it is ducted. So when we're going to duct this unit, we're going to put it into high, and that is going to help us up to a static of about 0.4 when we use that high speed. Now, what's really exciting about this unit is there is a fan override for high static ducted applications up to 1 inch. There are no other ducted dehumidifiers on the market that can handle that amount of static. So that's very exciting. Typically when you get about to 0.5, even, you might see 0.6, but you're really pushing it, putting a dehumidifier onto that amount of static. So you can put this into high override, which in order to do that, you press and hold the fan button for 3 seconds, and this will enter the high override mode for those high static applications. Whoops. Sorry about that. I'm trying to get you out here so I can see if we have any questions about that. All right, let's see here. Will this, okay. I'm going to get into that one. I'm just going to go through these questions here a little bit here. Is there an option for top ducting? There is not on this unit. There is not an option to top duct it. The weight of the unit is 57 pounds. It looks like there was some sound issues, but we got that resolved. There is a ventilating option. We're going to go over that. All right, so I think we've got everybody covered so far on the questions, and I will try to monitor that a little bit closely just so I don't have to go backwards here. So one of the things that we talked about on that display of the digital control are air codes. So in our manual, you will see the different display codes for the airs. We have an ambient sensor, so obviously if the air going into the unit is out of the range, we're not going to get dehumidification, and we provide you a troubleshooting procedure of what is going to happen. So this process, you know, is the dehumidifier fan will circulate air for a minute. It's going to test that air. The compressor will activate for 15 minutes, and it's going to keep repeating this until the air is within that ambient sensor range. Low dew point, you know, we all go by relative humidity for controlling our dehumidifiers, but the reality is dew point is really what is important. And when we get into, let's say, a crawl space where maybe the temperature is going to get down to 50 degrees, and it might say the relative humidity is 60%, you know, the dew point is pretty low still. So we don't want that dehumidifier constantly going into defrost mode, trying to get to that relative humidity when there really isn't that much water in the air. So that low dew point is significant and really will save on the life of the dehumidifiers. And then we go into some other ones here: communication problems, overpressure refrigeration, too high a temp, too low a temp, and they're all troubleshooting procedure here, and then if service is required. So this will really help when you are noticing an issue with a dehumidifier and you have to reach out to our service department. Then this is going to help us help resolve those situations very quickly. So there's that molded base with the integrated handles. You can see a little bit more. Now, I've encapsulated quite a few crawl spaces. Jeez, sorry about that. This keeps going. And I know that getting a dehumidifier across that vapor barrier is challenging without damaging the vapor barrier. So being able to have these molded kind of skid rails on the bottom is super helpful. Plus here, there's handles which help with carrying the dehumidifier. Here's where you get the positive pressure drain that does not require a P-trap, which significant less maintenance when you're not having to deal with a P-trap. And then here is that secondary drain pan dedicated float switch port. So if you're going to utilize that, you're going to have to open that up. So it's just kind of a punch out there. And then you can, there's float switches on the market that can screw right into that and then wire to the dehumidifier. So very excited with that. I know in the past with crawl spaces, we're seeing, we've had requests for being able to wire a float switch to the dehumidifier. And that is one of the reasons that, you know, we really drove home on this unit, listening to our customers, that it's not just ducted units that we want that float switch. It's also, you know, in a basement space or in a crawl space where we want that dehumidifier to shut off if there is water detected. So what are the benefits for you for this unit? One unit for both HVAC and standalone, which is really exciting. You don't need to fabricate or buy that secondary drain pan. Consistent airflow for maximum space drying. You are always going to get that CFM with that adjustable fan of being able to maximize air movement, whether it's a crawl space, ducted to the HVAC. Air movement is so important, and that's so exciting about that variable speed fan capability. Again, static up to 1 inch for HVAC. That's a game changer, especially with a lot of these high static, energy efficient HVAC systems on the market, as well as what we're seeing more and more is you know, having homes with ducted or ductless mini splits. So being able to be able to provide that maximum airflow with giving the dehumidifier its own duct work, which typically is at least, you know, 3 supply trunks, that'll help a lot. Most reliable coil available on the market. The double coated coil is, we've been testing them for a long time now, and the quality of these coils is very impressive, and so that should cut down on a lot of headaches for all of us, which again is going to reduce those callbacks and warranty claims. So the double coated coils is going to help a lot. Being able to have that digital onboard display with the air codes, homeowners being able to use that digital control to control their humidity really should reduce a lot of the callbacks for all of us. So for the homeowner, easy to set. It's going to tell them when to maintain that filter, fingers crossed. Easy to troubleshoot. So if they go down there and they see an air code and they reach out to you, it should be easier for all of us to figure out what's going on with that unit. Very quiet, super energy efficient, better reliability, and it's going to fit into tight spaces. So this unit compared to our Advanced 90, there is a cost difference, but what we've added for these features and the ultimate benefit really, it shouldn't be hard to sell. The energy efficiency is much greater, more pints, really quiet. That CFM of being able to consistently have that CFM throughout, you know, no matter what application you put that dehumidifier in is pretty impressive. Dew point cutout, it's going to save on that dehumidifier's life, extend it quite a bit. Variable speed fan, onboard digital control, again, ducted, unducted, corrosion resistant double coated coils, secondary drain pan, positive pressure drain. So if you just look at the two compared to each other, this Oasis105 really offers a lot and was based on feedback from our partners. So we're really excited about this unit. So the key competitive advantages of it non-ducted, again, we're going to go into those eco technology with those coils, super impressive. Now, when it's not ducted, it is 36% more energy efficient than our leading competitor. Extremely quiet, and again, that secondary drain pan. Now, key competitive advantages when it's ducted, someone had asked about it being able to offer ventilation. It can offer ventilation. If you're familiar with our Ultra 70 units, that's such a compact, small unit that we have to tie the outdoor air ventilation into the return of the Ultra 70. It's the same thing here. We just don't have a dedicated fresh air duct for it. You just have to tie in to the return of the Oasis, but it's the same benefit as using if it had a dedicated port. So again, that variable speed, game changer when it comes to HVAC systems. Eco technology. Now, when ducted, this unit is actually 50% more energy efficient than our leading competitor. So really exciting about that. Of course, quiet is always one of those. We're seeing more and more this mid-century modern architecture come back in our homes. We're not getting attic space to be able to put in our mechanicals. And we're seeing them a lot more go into closet spaces inside the living space. So, you know, originally our dehumidifiers weren't designed to be in spaces. They were designed to be in a mechanical room away from the rest of the house, in the attic, in the basement, in the crawl space. But now that we're seeing mechanical systems more and more integrated into a closet in the living space, noise is becoming more of an issue. So that 45 decibels is important. And again, you got that secondary drain pan with a dedicated float switch port right on the unit. All right, I'm just going to check here to see if any more. Is there published CFM numbers for low and high speed at given statics? So I don't know if Ryan, our product manager, made it on here or not, if we have those published numbers, but you should be able to keep the CFM by adjusting that fan at the different statics. So previously I showed that it's, let me see here, I think we go up to 400 CFM on our 410. So you can adjust the fan speed based on the different statics in order to maintain your CFM. But I will get with Ryan and make sure that if there's any published numbers that we have beyond this to get that to you, Mike. All right, so we do have accessories with this unit. There's a supply duct kit, so we know that especially in crawl space applications where we put on that supply duct and add some flex duct and deliver that dry air to a different area of the crawl space, that accessory is very important. So we do have the supply only duct kit. And then when it comes to the ducted HVAC, we have a return and supply duct kit to go with the unit. And then we also have the hang kit. So if it's an attic or a crawl space, we do have the hang kit specific to this unit as well. All right, so some resources. If you haven't, let's see here. I got some questions. We have those numbers. All right, so I have been told we have those numbers and we will get those to you. What are the main sales target groups for this unit? So this unit actually, where typically we've had our standalone units that have been dedicated to crawl space basement, and then our ultra units, which was dedicated to more HVAC. This unit goes across all those applications and into many different industries. So where we see dehumidifiers being utilized is pest control contractors, HVAC, waterproofers, actually more and more insulation contractors that are going into crawl spaces, maybe conditioning an attic. where you need that dehumidification more than you need temperature control. So dehumidifiers, where we've seen in the past, maybe have been pigeonholed into crawl space and basements, and occasionally being added to HVAC. The reality is the more energy efficient our homes get, which means less run time on air conditioning, the more need we're seeing for dedicated dehumidification. And typically, the more energy efficient an air conditioner is, the less water it removes. So I would say in the last 5 to 10 years, the increase in commercial grade dehumidifiers being applied to homes has increased drastically. And I think that's a key that we need to remember, that that these are commercial grade. We manufacture commercial grade restoration equipment and dehumidifiers that are applied to commercial buildings. Those same components are being used in our residential dehumidifiers. So you really are getting a quality commercial grade dehumidifier for residential applications. One of the best quotes I've ever heard from a homeowner about our dehumidifiers is, not your first dehumidifier, but your last. Because people need to go through the process of purchasing those portable units and having to replace them every year and not getting the capacity or the performance from those as they expect. And so that's when they get to Sante Fe and realize that, you know, the investment for this kind of protection, whether it's comfort, health, property, is really worth the investment. So on our website, the unit is up there, the Oasis105. We do have a really great video on that page as well that you might want to share with some homeowners, and it kind of goes over a higher level of what we talked about today. And we have our manual and the spec sheet and the hang kit manual on there. The duct collars are not available yet, but they should be here in the coming weeks. So if you're interested in getting a pre-order on those, we are taking pre-orders on those duct kits. So the Sante Fe difference, again, we are a commercial grade dehumidifier and we're industry leaders. We want to bring you technology that is proven and continually advance the industry. And that's what this new eco technology does on the Oasis105. Again, we offer ventilation capabilities on our units. You don't have to add an additional component to the dehumidifier in order to get the ventilation capabilities. MERV 13 standard on all our units, whether standalone or whole house. All of our units are extremely energy efficient. We are located, headquartered in Madison, Wisconsin. So if you call, you're going to get somebody in Madison. And we do have a dedicated sales team and support throughout the country as well. So some additional resources that I wanted to share. Yes, this unit is available now. Just a quick question I saw there. Some available resources that I want to make sure everybody's aware of. We do have an app for our distributor partners and contractors on your phone. So you can go into your app store and put in Sante Fe Indoor Air Quality Solutions. And in here, we will have, there, come on. We'll have our manuals, our spec sheets, our install recommendations. So we have a dedicated recommended install, but then we also have install options because sometimes the recommended won't work. And we have product videos. So a great resource to have on your phone if you're out in the field, if you're talking to a customer, you're wondering about something, that you can just pull that up right on your phone through that app. On our website, we have a contractor portal. I invite you to register for that. This 2023, you will see a lot of changes and a lot of training being added to that that contractor portal. So the sooner you sign up, the more notifications you'll get as we continue to add stuff to the contractor portal. So on our website, and I have it circled here, the About section, there is a link under there called Media Resources. So, gosh darn it. If you are looking for a logo or a photo to put on your website, or maybe a product PDF, trifold, brochure, spec, manual, anything like that, our media resources page is a great place to be able to get those items very easily. And if you are selling Santa Fe and you have outdated pictures of units and logos and specs, this is a great place to get it. And we highly recommend that you update or add the information, because we do have a Find a Pro on our website. So when our homeowners are looking for either someone to install a crawl space and basement dehumidifier, or more of a standalone application, or HVAC, which we break those down when they're searching, we want to make sure that our contracting partners are in this contractor portal, and we are sending people to you. So please make sure that on that contractor portal sign up, which I'll go back to right here. When you register here, it's going to ask if you want to, where'd you go? There we go. It's going to ask you if you want to be included in the as part of that Find a Pro partner locator. So if you check that box, it's just going to ask you some questions, and then we will get you uploaded into that portal. All right, and then the last thing I have is we, about 6 years ago, teamed up with some building science specialists to put together a two-day crawl space encapsulation class. It is not based on Santa Fe recommendations. It is based on building code and best practices according to building science experts. So we teamed up with Reed's Drying Academy down in Atlanta because they train restoration contractors, and they have a school with a flood house, which has a crawl space. So not only are you getting the in-class knowledge of encapsulating and the building science of encapsulating, but you also are doing hands-on and going in and encapsulating a crawl space. So November 3rd and 4th, we will be offering that class again. The website's reedsdryingacademy.com. If you go on there and go on their in-person classes, you will see that you can register for this class. It fills up pretty fast, but they try to keep the classes, no more than the 20-25 people, because there is a lot of hands-on with this. But what's great about this is, we teamed up with Advanced Energy, which is the buildings, the crawl space experts out of North Carolina, in order to put together the how-to of this course. And then also, if you know building science, Dr. Joe Steenbrook is the leading, Dr. Allison Bales, we've got Chris Conway and Paul Hardy from the pest control industry that all helped us with this class. So very valuable class, and it's really how to take, if you're already encapsulating, how to take it to the next level, and if you're interested in getting in it, basically looking at code and then best practices. So that's what I have for you today. I'm going to look here to see if we have any other questions that have come up or if I missed. We got a lot of people here, and I think we've addressed most of these questions. Again, information is on the website for the Oasis 105. We do have some other exciting products that we will be launching in 2023, so stay tuned for that info. And if anybody on here is going to be at Pest World in Boston next week, we will be there with the Oasis and doing some presentations in our booth as well, so please stop by. All right, everybody, I think if that's it. Oh, I think that's it. All right, thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great day.